The SAICA Biz Impact Podcast is proudly brought to you by SAICA, committed to growing impactful businesses in collaboration with our SAICA accredited practitioners. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and visit our website for more valuable resources.
Welcome to another episode of Season 2 of the SAICA Biz Impact Podcast show, where we simplify complex business topics one episode at a time. I am your host, Uluncedo, and I'm here to guide you through insightful discussions and actionable insights from a number of our guests that we're going to be bringing on board. And on this episode, I am joined by a solid businessman from Northern Cape by the name of Melvin Lang. Melvin, welcome on board.
Lou, thank you for the wonderful opportunity to be here. I'm thankful for the Lord for the prestigious stage that I have and that I can discuss, assistance to SMMEs.
Yeah. No, thanks for coming through. I know you're from all the way from Northern Cape, right?
Yes.
I think for our audience as well, let's give them a brief background of who is Melvin,
yes.
Right? So I'll just have a high level. I've got a high level bio here for you, yes. Right? So Melvin Lang, ladies and gentlemen, is from a small town in Northern Cape called Dingleton, right? It's a community of plus minus 3,000 people. Yeah, a small mining town that has been relocated to Kathu by Sishen Iron Ore Company under Anglo American. Melvin is also the managing director of ML Eco Projects that services small, medium, and micro enterprises in Northern Cape. They specialize in financial, business training, and mentoring. They also perform enterprise development services to mining companies and solar farms who are in renewable energy in Northern Cape. And the topic that we are having today, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about succession planning for SMEs. I know it is a topic that is usually held at the bigger stages. Yes. However, it does impact each and every business. Yeah. Regardless of how small or how big you are. But before we start, Melvin, how is Northern Cape? How's business in Northern Cape? All right, Melvin, before we get into the heart of our question, but I think it's very important that I understand, where you're from. Yes. And how your business has been set up.
Yes. Yes.
You're from Northern Cape.
Yes.
Right. Take me through, man. How's the economy that side? Who are your biggest customers?
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for having me once again, Lou.
Yeah.
I think it's a special privilege for me to be on a prestigious stage like the SAICA Biz Portal. Like you said, I'm all the way from the Northern Cape. In the heart where iron ore are being mined.
Okay.
So just to give you a brief background about myself. So we've been part of a small town called Dingleton, and Dingleton has been relocated by Anglo American in order for mining expansion activities to be prolonged. So basically to expand the life of mine of Anglo American. And, in the process of us relocating to Kathu, I think there was a lot of battles because remember, this is a community that has been living there for a very long time, and now they have to leave their land to go to Kathu.
Yeah.
Everybody signed their agreements and they move forward. But in the process, due to the fact that I know this is a very poor community, I actually was one of the guys who said to Anglo American, listen up. We are one of the ones that you cannot just move. We need to know how are you going to sustain ourselves when we get to Kathu. And I think due to there was a lot of battles happening, I flew up and down to Joburg. But in the process, I spoke to one of the managers, one of the general managers, and he said, Melvin, you know what? Instead of us fighting regarding this resettlement, why don't you use your skill as an accountant to actually help the SMMEs to grow and also for them to become sustainable? And I think that's the time when I decided, I think maybe he's right. Instead of us fighting, let me just take this step to use my skill to assist our local SMMEs in the local area of Katu.
That's a fantastic story.
Yes.
That's a fantastic story, because what you've done, you've plowed back.
Yes.
Instead of saying, okay, I will move Dingleton,
Yes.
I'll go to Cape Town,
Exactly.
start new life there.
Yes.
You said, okay, I will remain, ensure that my people are upskilled.
Exactly.
And you got the support
Yes.
from corporate South Africa as well, to
Yes.
say, we will support you if you do this.
Exactly my point. So definitely you can even assist our SMMEs.
Yes.
So one thing I also do want to mention is like I had the privilege as a SMP to work together with SAICA Enterprise Development together with Anglo Zimele. Anglo Zimele is directly under Anglo American. So
Correct,
basically
yes.
they are responsible to assist local SMMEs in our area where funding is needed. They would look at their business plans and, check how viable it is for them to actually give the funding. And also for the SMMEs, it is already inside the mine. Say, for instance, they have a project to do inside the mine, then Anglo will look at how much they need in order to complete their project in the mine.
Yeah.
So I think for me, I was very privileged with a lot of SMP. So I was the only SMP together with CAs and also registered auditors. So I think that gave me a lot of exposure to actually, because, we in the Northern Cape, we work a bit differently to the guys here up in the urban areas.
Yes.
So I think it was very, very insightful for me to be a part of the program.
Yeah.
So,
Now that's fantastic, because, your story fits very well as
Yes.
well to our topic, because if you look at it, there is an element of succession planning.
Definitely.
From there to say, you're not going to just move a community
Yes.
and then drop it there and then there's no one.
Exactly
But
my
there
point.
should be someone who's going to assist, who's going to take over
Yes.
and ensure that his people
Exactly.
are well upskilled,
Yes.
are well taken care of.
Yes, definitely.
And that's how your business as well kickstarts.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
And I think with all the local mines out there, except for Anglo American, there's a lot of other iron ore mines where there's a social responsibility to invest in the local community, and that is not just the social part, but the small medium entities that needs to be developed, because you would get that in the past. Prior to 2006, a lot of developing was happening, but it was happening inside the mine. And I mean, a lot of companies from all over South Africa came inside, and I would say that they made a lot of money. So, but the communities are the ones that was left the poorest. So they mine there, but they take all the resources to the urban areas. So they actually have the responsibility to ensure. Part of their social and labor plans is to ensure that they uplift local SMMEs. And I think that's why I slot in perfectly as a SMP or small medium practice to assist our SMMEs and to guide them in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's talk about succession planning now, and again with some of the SMEs that you are working with.
Yes.
I'm very fascinated by them. I love to go to Northern Cape.
Yes.
I love to go.
You are welcome to come to the Northern Cape.
I will go with you after
It's actually
this episode, right?
actually very boring, but you can enjoy the peacefulness.
Peace of mind.
Peacefulness down in the Northern Cape.
So how would you define, the concept of succession planning to SMEs? Because most of them would assume that it's only applicable to big businesses. And you're one practical example as well that it has happened in the community. For that reason. So how would you break it down for SME to understand, to say, how do I put this plan in place for my business?
Yes. A business succession plan is a strategy for the business owner to safeguard, or basically it's a strategy whereby you safeguard your business. Remember, as a small medium owner, you don't do business for a short term, but you do business to be sustainable for a long period. And a succession plan is one of that plans that helps your business navigate through all the obstacles in order for you to reach your goal at the end of the day. I think as part of the financial excellence programs that we did with Anglo Zimele as well as SAICA Enterprise Development, a lot of the companies, we did a deep dive financial analysis on each of the businesses. So except for the fact that, except for the fact that they mismanage finances, or that they have to put management reports on a monthly basis in order to understand where their business are. A lot of them, in fact, less than 10% of them think about doing succession plans for their business, and I think that was a bit worrisome to see that the guys are doing business, but they are not taking into account as much as if they have it in their minds to say that, I want to take my business far, but there's no strategy in place to ensure that my business will get there at the end of the day.
What makes you think, what causes actually? What is the cause? Because with what you're saying, it's not only unique within your clients.
Yes.
But I think across
South Africa.
SMEs.
Yes.
Planning of who's going to take over if anything happens to me, or should I take a leave for 2 months? Can my business still run? What makes SMEs not to plan for that? Or because it should be part of their DNA.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway. So what are the reasons or the causes for that not to be in place for SMEs?
First of all, Lou, I will say one of the reasons is a lack of knowledge. I think the SMMEs, I think if we look South Africa as a whole, it's not all of the SMME directors that is actually educated. Some of the SMMEs, they start businesses because they are not getting working opportunities. So in that sense, they don't have all of the insight in terms of where I should go. Now the SMME gets a tender from the mine. He only focuses on the tender, not thinking that, I need to plan. I need to plan for the future.
Correct.
And I need to make provision, because a lot of them depend on first of all, there's a managing director that must be there, as well as the business of the business leaders or their managers, but they don't take into account that what if my senior manager goes? There's no successor to fill that role. And the other thing I would say is the fact that procrastination. They know about the fact that I must do a succession plan, but they don't do it at all. You get my point? And when time goes on, or say for instance, if they need to sell the business, there is no strategy in place in terms of the succession of the business. So I think that is one of the reasons the SMMEs don't do their succession plans. I think one other thing is that I also just want to mention, except for the SMMEs only focus on what they have for that specific period of time. So I don't think
short term.
They don't look at the long term in terms of where I want my business to go. You get my point? So
So when is the right time for a business owner to start thinking about succession plan? Because one will tell you that I only have like 2, 3, 4 employees. Or else one person will say I only have 20, so there's no need. Everyone knows what they have to do. Right. Now, the question, it goes now within the time horizon as a business owner to start thinking about it. Or other people will think about it when they're 50 or 60, they know that, okay, the next 5 years I'm resigning, so that's it for me. So when is the right time to start thinking about it?
I would say if an SMME is in business, the time is immediately. He should think about the succession of his company immediately and try to put plans in place immediately. Because remember, SMME does business, but he wants his business to succeed. And you need to be prepared from the word get-go. You get my point? Remember, you can say it's not necessary for a succession plan to be put in place. But what if something happens tomorrow? Remember, you are the managing director of your company. What if something happens to you tomorrow? What will happen to your business? There's no plan in place, even the person that needs to take over your business. So there's no clear plan for them in terms of where the business needs to go. And also you have an idea of where you want your business to go. And without a succession plan, you cannot go there. So I would say they need to start immediately.
So in terms of developing the plan itself, what are some of the key factors that a business owner should think about before they start to develop a solid plan for them, so that they know that if anything happens for me, or to one, even not even to that person,
Yes.
but to one of the managers or anything like that, my operations will still continue to run.
Yes. So I would definitely say the key factors is that business owner needs to think about his short-term and long-term goals.
Okay.
In terms of what he wants to achieve and how he's going to get there.
Yeah.
Secondly, I would say that, you would need to have a growth plan in place. Growth plan in place to say that how am I going to reach my target and how am I going to, because, some of the business owners are very comfortable with where they're at.
Yeah.
They are very comfortable with where they're at. Yeah. So if you want to grow, you need to take your growth plan into consideration. You get my point? Yeah. Also, for a business owner, you need to think about, one of the elements that also needs to be there is the key persons in your company.
Okay.
The key persons in your company, because remember, you have key persons there and they are there to push your production, ensure that you reach maximum profits. Yeah. But what if that key person falls away? How will you actually find your way to that?
Absolutely.
So your key persons in your business and the shortages also of, how can I say, what is it for you as a business owner? Yeah. What training is needed also for persons that work under your head, your HOD or head of department? You need to look at what is needed in order to develop some of my staff underneath that person. In order, if that person goes away, how am I going to fill that position? Yeah. Also very important, I'll say that is a business valuation. Okay. You need a proper business valuation in place to ensure that you know what the value of your business is and you know what the current value of your business is.
Sure.
Because without the current value, say for instance, if you need to sell your business years from now, whatever the case may be, then you need to know where your business are at, because some of the companies some of the SMME owners sell their companies based on the assets that is there or the cash flow that is there, but they don't sell the company based on the ability of the company, what it can reach on a yearly basis. You get my point? So business valuation, definitely very important. One also needs to take into account the tax implications. Say for instance, if a successor takes over from your company. So tax implications and then legal considerations, without your taking into account the legal consideration, you can actually face, a lot of penalties and even, not do sale agreements correctly or whatever the case may be, shareholders agreement. I think just one thing that I want to mention is like in the Northern Cape where we live, the mines have an initiative to say that, here are a big company, but this company has been prospering for years. So now we want you to get a local partner, whereby this local partner can also benefit, or this is part of local empowerment. So this guy needs to benefit. And then at the end of the day, this guy will come in, step in as a partner. Yeah. He signs a shareholders agreement, and the BEE status gets amended. Yeah. But at the end of the day, this guy he only gets a salary. He doesn't get dividends at the end of the day. So there's only employment created, and there's no empowerment created for the local guy. Sure. So definitely legal part is crucial. And there's a lot of other things, but I think with advice from your specialists and lawyers, they will exactly advise you what is needed.
You spoke about you need to identify a successor.
Yeah.
And that is one of the most difficult decisions that you have to make.
Yes. Can be very emotional as well.
As a business leader.
Yes.
So how do you go about to identify the correct successor, not only just for you, but for each lead on those separate departments?
Yeah, so I think for the successor, ideally the business owner would like to make a family member the successor of his business. But one thing SMME should take into account that is when you come to retirement or when you plan to go to new ventures, you actually want to get the maximum value for your business. So you need to take into account all the considerations. You get my point? Whether you will, how can I say, pass it on to a family member or even employee inside your company that has been knowing your business for many years and has been running the thing for you, one need to take into account your employees as well, because remember, without your employees, your business won't be able to go forward. So one should take that also into account. And then also one needs to take into account that, you know, if you don't sell it to your son, or if you don't sell it to an employee, you need to set up your business at a level whereby, you know, you can also sell it to an outside partner and to the at maximum value. Yes,
I've heard you're talking about sometimes selling or else grooming some of your family members, your sister. There are a number of views about family business. In terms of very few of them that remain successful for the longest time.
Yes.
In that particular instance, now where you know that if I bring a family member here, this thing will go down in the next 5 years. But what are some of the qualities you should look for when you are about to make someone
that type of decision
as a successor?
Yes.
And that person is not a family member.
Yes. I think first of all, you need to actually, when you groom your successor, first of all, that guy needs to share the same mission.
Okay.
He needs to share the same vision, and then he needs to go, how can I say, his interest must be like your interest, because, you know, you don't want to groom somebody and that guy doesn't really, actually, he's only in for the money, because at the end of the day, you as a business owner, you want to leave a legacy behind of what you started, and you want your legacy to continue in your business. So yeah.
Let's talk about confidentiality. Because you are saying there's a certain manager that I've identified.
Yes.
And I'm grooming them.
Yes.
Now, when you do succession planning, is it something that has to be communicated across the company to say, so-and-so is going to be the director in the next 5 years, and I'm worried about the consequences of that now, and the politics that it can create within the current employees? How do you go about in terms of confidentiality? Is it something that has to be known, or else it's a secret document?
Yes. No, definitely not. I wouldn't say it's a secret document. Transparency is very important, because at the end of the day, you know, even as an employee, it is good to know, it is good to know where you're going, where you're heading. So if you get information from your director in terms of where you want to go with the business. And also if there's, training and mentorship opportunities for me, to get, actually to become a shareholder, then it will motivate me as an employee. So I would say that definitely the director of the company needs to be transparent, because so that the employees know where they stand.
Let's talk about also the benefits or the risks of not having this succession plan in place.
Yes.
What are some of the biggest risks that you can share for not having a proper plan in relation to succession?
Definitely, there's definitely a lot of risk with not having a succession plan in place. I think the first one is, what if a key employee in your business leaves the company? That can disrupt your business activities. You get my point. Remember, whether you are delivering a service or selling a product that can actually, disrupt activities or even your business operations. And your relationship with your customers can be affected if they know that, we've always depended on this guy to do that, but now he's not there anymore. Having a succession plan actually strengthens that. I would also say that, your profits can get affected through not having that in place, because imagine if your business, how can I say, if your business doesn't have suitable employees to
lead, continue, and run.
Exactly. So there is a lot of risk, and even say, for instance, you cannot get the value for what your business is worth because you didn't do things according to plan. So there's numerous risk involved with not having a succession plan in place.
With what you're saying, it reminds me I think even this year, even late last year, we've seen a number of companies in South Africa, also even global.
Yes.
You know, we have a local retailer in South Africa where I know they recalled one of their CEOs who was a CEO around 2006 and 2007. They brought him back in 2023.
Wow.
And again, the question was like, does that mean even in JSE listed entities, you know, there's some companies that are found wanting in relation to that, even globally. I've seen entities where you found that the CEO was there 2015.
Yes.
He became the chairman.
Yes.
He retired.
Exactly.
Then company goes through trouble.
Yes.
They bring him back in 2023. What does that mean? What does that mean about the leadership or succession planning about those big listed entities of the world?
Yeah, I mean, just what you mentioned now.
Yeah.
I mean, small, medium entities can learn a lot from big companies.
Yeah.
Because many a times I think that is not that relevant to them, but it's even more relevant. Remember, big companies have plans in place. They have the finances in place to, you know, rectify when there is errors and stuff like that. But you as a small, medium entity, you don't have that type of scope. Yeah.
Let's talk about the challenges and again, moving towards the solutions here in terms of what are some of your typical common challenges that SME face when they start now to develop their plan, when they start to consider who am I going to put there and there? What are the biggest challenges that they're facing? Yeah,
like I said, the challenges that all the SMMEs that I've been working with, the challenges that they think that it's very expensive to do a succession plan. And for this reason, they don't do it at all. You get my point? Yeah. So talking about that, where do you go? Do you have to sit there by yourself as a CEO of an organization? Yes.
Or else you have to reach out to an expert to guide you. Remember, you know your business. You know your business in and out.
Yes.
All right? Yeah. However, there's that skill I spoke about that you have to have a very good eye to identify suitable people that can be leaders, not only people that know work, but people that can steer the organization to greater heights, right? So if you're just good at what you do, you know, you're a normal businessman, to have this in place, do you reach out? Are they experts, or else it's something that you can do by yourself?
No, definitely not. You know, I think as a SMME owner, you know what you need to do to make profits.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, if you don't know how to do a succession plan, you would definitely have to reach out to, you know, guys or professionals that know how to do their job. So basically, get a corporate lawyer to give you guidance in terms of...
They're not expensive.
Yeah, it can be expensive, but that is based on, because one shoe doesn't fit everybody. So they will do the succession plan based on the size of your company. And even, you know, chartered accountants and even AGAs, they can also assist with setting up your succession plan. And sometimes you also need the input of your guys inside that knows exactly how the operation works. So I think cohesively you can do that succession plan, but it's not necessary or for you as a SMME owner to do everything by yourself. What have you gained personally from your side, or the insights, you know, with succession planning, even with your business? I think you know, the project that we had with Anglo, Zimile, and also SAICA Enterprise Development learned me actually a lot, because, you know, as a one-man, how can I say, as a small enterprise, you as the main accountant, and then you have your team under yourself. Sometimes you try to do everything by yourself, but then but you can't. You get my point. You can't do that. So I think, you know, listening to how the CAs do their stuff, and even to how the auditors do their stuff, you actually saw that, you know what, you actually need to have that plan in place in order to become successful and to grow and to reach your goals. Some memorable succession planning success stories with some of the clients that you've helped. I think this was now way back. This was a company, it was a small cleaning company, but this company was doing, the company didn't have a succession plan in place, but he realized the importance of a succession plan when this incident happened. So what happened is this guy was doing service delivery for the mine, and he didn't do a lot of purchases. I think the most of his purchases he did was, buying cleaning material and stuff.
Yeah.
But the most of his operational expenses was actually wages. So what happened is in 3 years, 4 years down the line, I think I came in as an advisor. So this guy has his accountant, but the problem is it was merely a transactional relationship and not a personal relationship where you can go for advice or where you can advise him on his finances in terms of stuff like that. So what happens is after this 5 years, I came in and I told this guy, but you know what? I didn't see you are registered for VAT. So what is happening? I mean, you've been performing very well as a company. And remember, to this guy, in his mind, that was the value of his business. And I actually made him aware of the fact that, this is one of the key stuff to register, because remember, you have reached a million a long time ago. But he said, and he told me, Melvin, wow, my accountant never told me that I should get this in place, because remember, this guy is uneducated. He does business and he knows he's registered for tax. Yeah. So, but he doesn't understand that, the VAT implication. So what happened is in this SMME went to go register, and after he registered, SARS actually typed him back 4 years back when he reached more than $1 million. So I think his debt was about more than 3.5 million that he had to pay. And that guy was so devastated, and he told me, Melvin, you told me a few months ago, and I didn't thought that this will happen to me. Remember, this guy didn't have any succession plan in place. And he said, Melvin, I think I'm done for, because remember, I'm actually hosting 50 to 60 employees. And I thought to myself that, I was doing good business until I found out that I need to pay this 3.5 million. But what happened is and luckily for him, he only did business with this specific diamond mine. Yeah. And I think the SARS auditors came down, and from a consulting point of view, I asked one of my guys that, let me go in, because I know this company and I know this SMME. He worked very hard to get where they are as a business, and they don't have the money to pay. So I needed to actually go, and I needed to go. I went to the client note. SARS actually came to him down to the Northern Cape. I think it was about 3 auditors that came to go through his stuff. And there was also the mine manager. So I had engagement with the hub manager, which is responsible for the enterprise development there. And I told them, you know what? In fact, if SARS are typing this guy was 3 years back, he can go more than 5 years back to go actually, how can I say?
SARS can go 5 years back to basically reinstate.
Yeah.
Debts and all
So what happened in that scenario, I was sitting, me and the mine manager was sitting, the hub manager was sitting, and while the auditors were sitting, and said that, you know what, unfortunately, we would have to penalize this guy. This guy was also sitting there, but he didn't even face the cameras. He was just sitting. He was not even facing the people on the board. He was just sitting hands in his hat, and the auditor said, no, we would have to charge him. And as the mine, they didn't have the obligation to go back. But in that session, I told them, you know what, now, you guys, because this guy only did business with you, and if we want to save this guy's business, we can go back and he can charge luckily that was his only client, his only mining client. So you can actually pay the VAT to him and claim me directly back from SARS.
It makes sense.
And then
it makes sense.
Then it will be fair and square. And also, so the CFO of the mine agreed to say that, you know what, I can listen to what Melvin is saying. I don't have to, because the auditor said they didn't have to go back.
Money.
They want their money. They didn't have to go back, but they said, the thing that Melvin is saying makes perfect sense. We will actually pay the VAT money for the services that he delivered for the past 5 years. And then we will claim it back from you directly, and then the SMME doesn't have to get that punishment. for all of that VAT.
Can we get more minds like that in South Africa who are willing to?
Yes, yes.
Right?
So I think that was one of the success stories.
Yeah. No. That's so. Let's talk about the future. Let's talk about the trends that are picking up globally.
Yeah.
I always say that I want South African SMEs to compete at a global level.
Yeah.
All right. South Africa is quite huge.
Yes.
We're doing well compared to our African counterparts.
Yes.
Right. What are the trends? What are the trends that you're picking up about sustainability and really ensuring that businesses are well run, even in terms of succession plans like this?
Yes. I think succession plan is the way to go for our small, medium entities.
Okay.
Remember, our SMMEs, contribute about 34% or plus minus 34% to the GDP of South Africa. And Lou, imagine if 1 million SMMEs in South Africa are sustainable and are appointing only 20 employees, that will get the number to 20 million. And that will make a huge impact. Remember, we are depending on the government to fight unemployment in our country. But I believe with sustainable SMMEs, having their succession plans in place, knowing where they want to go, creating employment, you get my point. I think we can make South Africa a better place for our citizens because people in South Africa, they are struggling. And we need sustainable businesses in our country.
Sure.
We need to support sustainable businesses. And I think just one thing I would like to mention, where I come from the rural areas, you would get that SMMEs are very intimidated by accountants. So what will happen is and he does business, he takes his books in order for his tax clearance to be renewed. But I would really advise our accountants to be more open to their clients.
Become an advisor.
Don't intimidate. Don't intimidate. Become an advisor and, take the guy from this point and let him grow. Advise him. I know our SMMEs are open and willing to learn. And I think we can play that role in order for them to become that SMMEs that create jobs.
Yeah. What advice would you recommend to SME owners out there?
Yeah. So all the SMME owners out there, I would really encourage you to get succession plans in your business because getting a succession plan is vital for the long-term sustainability of your company. And I think if you want to see growth, I always tell the SMMEs that I mentor, if you look well after your company will certainly look well after you. And I think you will be able to reap rewards for many years. And having a succession plan in place, you can guarantee that you will reap the rewards and also pass your business over to a successor that is worth it, or even sell it for top dollar if someone in your family are not willing to take over the company. So that's my advice for the SMMEs.
Melvin, appreciate, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
To studio. I think you've shared very good advice.
Thank you so much.
Advice, and you've simplified it. And I hope that our people, our audience, will take some of the advice that you've shared and implement in their
It was my privilege to be here, Lou. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. I hope that you've taken very good points and implement them. And again, share with some of the people that you know who are running their own businesses. Remember to follow SAICA on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and other major platforms like X. And also please subscribe to the podcast to never miss an episode. Please share, please like, please ask us questions. All right, Melvin is here to assist you as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lou.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The SAICA Biz Impact Podcast is proudly brought to you by SAICA, committed to growing impactful businesses in collaboration with our SAICA accredited practitioners. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast and visit our website for more valuable resources.